We need to discuss the arrest and booking of Lane Jensen from Portland Transit Lane. Those of you who follow TriMet material know that Lane Jensen is one of the most outspoken uh, activists in the TriMet world, and we know that he's gotten under the skin of managers on more than once occasion. Now, he has been arrested, booked, his property has been seized for repetitive cell phone texts to managers asking questions about when will they address the safety issue. And he's sending that message every 15 minutes. Now, when you think about harassment, you think about threats. At no time has Lane Jensen ever made a threat to anyone. Let's take a look at the legal definition of harassment just for a minute here. The act of symptomatic and or continued unwanted or annoying actions of one party or a group, including threats and demands. Well, he made no threats. All he wanted was a simple answer to the question about safety. The purpose may vary, including racial prejudice. No. Personal malice. No. An attempt to force someone to quit a job or grant sexual favors. No. Apply illegal pressure to collect a bill or gain sadistic pleasure from making someone fearful or anxious. No. Such activities may be the basis for a lawsuit. Um, it goes on and on and on. But you see the gist. Harassment is not what Lane was doing. He was trying to get an answer to a legitimate question, which nobody would do. Now, it needs to be said that I looked up the charge, the ORS that Lane is so supposedly violated. It's ORS 166.9.090, telephonic harassment. A telephone caller commits the crime of telephonic harassment if the caller intentionally harasses or annoys another person. I don't believe he did either of those. He wasn't harassing them. He was asking for an answer to a question. Was he annoying them? Possibly, but they're in a professional capacity. This is not at home. This is a professional capacity. Um, I want to say right here that I never supported this repetitive calling. I tried to get him to stop, but he didn't stop, and which is now why he's facing this. But it doesn't make it right. Okay, he didn't fit into the legal definition of harassment. Does he fit into this overly broad ORS telephonic harassment? It's possible. By causing, this is section B, by causing such other person's telephone to ring, knowing that the caller has been forbidden from doing so by a person exercising lawful authority over the phone call. Well, in the case of the officer that called Lane and told him to stop calling Alstead, Lane Jensen complied immediately. He immediately stopped texting Alstead. The officer didn't talk about anybody else. By sending or leaving at the other person's telephone a text message voicemail, knowing that the caller has been forbidden from doing so by the person. Okay, well, he was never told not to contact Stedman, Supporta, all the other people. He was told not to contact Alstead. The ORS 166.090 is very broad and allows for abuses of authority, which is what's happened here. I want to say that I think that this action against Lane is completely unjust, and it shows the power of the police state. They seized Lane's phone and his computer. Now, if he was sending text messages by phone, why is his computer seized? And why was there no search warrant when his items were seized? They provided no warrant for anything when they seized his equipment. My understanding of the law is if your property is to be taken, you're presented with some kind of legal document that allows the cops to do that. But in this case, he got no such document. They just took it. What we see here really is the abusive power of the police state over the citizens of the country. They walked in, took his stuff, took him to jail. 4 hours later, they let him out. It's like, okay, Lane, we're going to teach you a lesson. That's what they do. That's what the police state is all about. You get out of line, they show you. Here, now you're in jail, you can't contact anybody. Now do something, sucker. Now, in the case of TriMet, we know TriMet is in the habit of doing things that are somewhat unethical. Now, I know in my own particular case that they concocted complaints about me. They went to the extreme of concocting complaints, and I could prove they were concocted. So we know they're going to lie to get their way, because I know that firsthand, and I'm not the only employee that suffered that kind of thing. Now let's look at the case of Jim Stenger. Jim Stenger, who never hurt anybody. Yes, he did make threats, but he never actually hurt anybody. They put a $1 million bail on him. Now, rapists don't get $1 million bail. What that is the power of TriMet. They have this huge, immense power by having so much money at their disposal, and they hand it out all around Portland area. They have this huge power. And what we're seeing here is the abuse of TriMet power in the case of activist Lane Jensen. And it's truly, truly a complete disgrace that they've been able to get away with this. And it disrupted Lane's life completely. I don't understand what gave him the right to take his computer.
The United States is not the land of the free and the home of the brave. It is the land of the fee and the home of the slave.